G'day folks, I'm Keith Jobson. Welcome to this 200-hour review of the KTM 500 EXC-F. If you've looked for any long-term reviews of the KTM 500 EXC-F, mostly what you're going to find is some bloke standing beside his bike going on about how great it is. It is the best bike that I've ever owned, for sure. And with good reason. Now, since I've already done that, I thought I'd approach this review just a little more objectively. So, if I was looking up a 200-hour review, what would I want to know? Well, I think there's four things. I want to know what sort of riding is this review based on, because an adventure rider's review is going to be way different to an enduro rider. Then I want to know what's gone wrong with this bike. What issues can I expect to pop up after 200 hours of riding? Third, tell me about the maintenance schedule. Now, this is probably the biggest pre-sales issue that comes up and scares people off the 500, that is the frequent maintenance and oil changes. So tell me what to expect in the real world. And finally, tell me about the mods that you've made, what's essential, what have you wasted money on, and what do you wish you had have done? The type of riding I do on the 500, it's a bit of everything. It's not racing, it's not enduro, it's not street, but it's pretty much everything else. In the 200 hours and 13,500 kilometres that I've owned this bike, I've done my fair share of sealed roads, I've done plenty of gravel roads, forest twin track, bit of single track, rocky hills, river crossings, mud, sandy deserts. In fact, it was the end of a desert crossing that I ticked over the 200 hours. I've done a lot of day trips, done quite a few 2 to 4 day rides, and just in this last year I've done 2 longer trips of a week each. The engine is stock, the suspension is stock, and it nearly always has some sort of luggage on the back, either my Giant Loop Mojave day bags or the Moscow Moto Reckless 40s. So what's gone wrong with this bike in 200 hours? Well, this is where it gets almost embarrassing, because the answer is nothing. Yeah, alright, so that's not completely true. There's been a couple of extremely minor things. The speedo kept resetting, which I fixed with a new battery, and the headlight high beam seems to get stuck on if water gets in the switch. But honestly, that is it. Nothing has failed, nothing has broken, leaked, and I've never been left stranded. I'm not sure I've even had a flat tyre on this. Maybe it's the regular maintenance that keeps things running so smooth. I mean, every time you do an oil change, you're giving it a bit of a once-over anyway, and all the small things like that loose bolt will get picked up before it causes a problem. And really, things are just easy on the 500. I think KTM gave all the hard-to-reach, impossible-to-service parts to the 690. As for my maintenance schedule, I've done 10 oil changes in those 200 hours. Is it a big deal? Well, you tell me. Is it really that big a deal to have to spend a couple of hours every few months down in the shed on a wet Sunday afternoon with some tunes playing, a few coldies and your bike on a stand? If so, maybe get yourself a WR250. Apart from your basic consumables, being oil and filter, chain sprockets and tyres, nothing else is needed to be done. I'm still on the original brake pads. For its 200-hour birthday, I did give it a new spark plug and fuel filter and change the other fluids. But really, servicing the 500 has been all pretty basic stuff. For the record, I checked the valve clearances at new, checked them again at 100 hours, I just checked them again at 200 hours. There was some really minor movement at the 100-hour mark. There was zero change at 200 hours. Now, I've wanted to do a video on valve adjustment, but it won't be coming anytime soon, I can tell you. These valves are rock solid, right in the middle of the range, and they have not shifted in the last 100 hours. As for modifications, let's roll this little clip and I'll walk around the bike and tell you about them. Some of the other mods that I've done obviously is the tank. It's IMS 17 litre tank. The seat is from a local upholsterer here in Melbourne, or Seaford, by Topline. That's the comfiest seat I've ever sat on. It's great. I have got some larger foot pegs. These are pivot pegs with CJ Designs extensions on them. Just some different levers and bits and pieces. I've got the P3 carbon bash plate and header pipe guard. I have a a small windscreen on there and a far better headlight, the XL80 Baja XL80 headlight, and up on the bars I've got the Highway Dirt Bikes sort of wraparound Barkbuster style guards with these little fold-in mirrors, which are really good, except for when they hit trees and then the glass breaks. Usually they fold, but that one broke. And lastly, I have a steering damper down in there from MSC Moto. Now, I use and love all of these modifications. Absolutely non-negotiable is the larger tank and the seat. And not far behind are the heated grips and the grip puppies. Things I could probably get away with not having would be the headlight, although the couple of times I have been caught in the dark, I'd hate to be without it. The small windscreen and the steering damper, possibly a bit of a luxury, but they do make a difference to comfort when you're stuck on fast open roads for a while. And my luggage system is undergoing a bit of a rethink. The Mojave day packs are brilliant, and the Moscow 40s have been good, but they're just not quite right for my needs, so expect a video on that one soon. As for mods yet to do, I'm currently considering a slightly heavier spring on the rear, just for the amount of luggage that I tend to carry. I'm starting a little bit of research into replacement ECUs. But I will say that we here in Australia, and those in Europe, we are starting from a very different place than our US friends with their emissions restricted version. So I'm not sure it's quite a big a deal for us as it is for them. Back to that bloke who was raving on about how great his bike is. Now look, I reckon this is an awesome bike. I can't fault it in any way. It's done everything that I've wanted it to do, everything that I've asked it to do. It's never let me down. I have never got myself into trouble that I can't get out of on this bike. It's perfect for me. The 500 is a fantastic bike for the riding that I do. It has awesome suspension, it will chug along all day without complaint, and I have 100% confidence in its reliability. What do you think about the 500? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.